Hello, macroeconomics. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have no idea. Depends upon when you're watching this. But hey, how's your Easter weekend going? Anything interesting or exciting happening? Did you get some chocolate from the Easter Bunny? Hopefully so. Well, obviously this is our e-learning day, so here's what's going to happen. This is our my little instruction videos. This is like the beginning, just like in class, me explaining what the heck you're going to be doing today. So first thing, warm up. Yes, you have a warm up. You can label this as April 2nd, even if you're not doing this April 2nd. And I want you to explain the limitation of the Taylor rule. I talked about the Taylor rule in class on Friday, so talk about the limitation of that. Secondly, on Canvas, on the e-learning day, I do have the e-learning attendance form. You've probably already filled this out for several teachers, unless, hey, I'm your first stop, which I am so honored. But fill this out for me too, please, because, hey, I need to submit this by 2 o'clock, after 2 o'clock on Monday. So make sure you fill this out by 2 o'clock on Monday. That tells me that you are actually, quote unquote, here, okay? So do your warm-up, do your e-learning attendance, so you're filling out that you were here. Okay, then I want you to do the long run effects of monetary policy notes. So you'll notice that there is a link on here that says Module 32, long run effects of monetary policy. Just take those notes just as if I was in class explaining it to you. You're writing your notes, and it's a short video. It's like less than 7 minutes. Okay, second thing that I want you to do is it says long run effects of monetary policy chart. Okay, so I'll explain what that is in just a second because I'm going to go off from this slide. Please remember that after this, Module 32 is due on Monday night by midnight. So whenever you do it, make sure it's in by midnight on Monday. Module 33, okay, will be due on day 2 by midnight, whenever your class has day 2, okay? So let's talk about this long run effects of monetary policy chart. What the heck is that? Well, if you remember, on Friday, we finished this page. It said targeting the federal funds rate. Remember, you were with a partner and you drew a card and I wrote stuff on the board. You had to do 4 of them. All right, so we did this on Friday. Well, today, I'm going to have you flip it over. The back side has the long run effects of monetary policy. So here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you do this, okay, on your own. So you're going to do 4 examples, all right? So you're going to do 4 examples, and so you are actually going to draw this out on your paper, obviously, that you have with you, hopefully. If you don't, I do have an extra copy on Canvas, okay? But you're going to draw this out on your paper, and then I want you to take a picture of it, and then I'm going to have you record or take a video of you explaining it. So I'm going to have you explain what happens. So you're going to walk me through the progression through each column. Okay. So the reason being is that I want to make sure that you understand why each column leads to the next one. Okay. So I know that sounds very confusing. So I actually am going to do an example for you. Okay, so my example, I actually wrote it out and I took a picture of it, so now I'm going to explain it to you. So the first column, it says target for the money supply and monetary policy used. I am going to give you a list of the ones that I want you to fill in for that first row in a second. So that first row I will give you. Everything else you have to come up with based on that first row that I give you. So I'm going to say that I'm going to want the money supply to increase, and I'm going to say that I'm going to use the reserve requirement. Well, in order to increase the money supply, I have to decrease the reserve requirement, because decreasing the reserve requirement will mean that banks have more money to lend, which increases the money supply. So the next graph is showing the money market. So you can see that my money supply shifted to the right, and you can see my interest rate dropped from E1 to E2. All right, the next graph, the next column is basically we're shortening down what was on the front. So the next graph is showing the effect on aggregate demand in the short run. So in the short run, because, hey, the money supply went to the right and interest rates dropped, this is the interest rates also on loans. Well, because the interest rate on loans becomes cheaper, more people are going to borrow more money, and it's going to cause more spending. So our aggregate demand is going to shift to the right, and we move from E1 to E2. As a result, in the short run, notice our price level goes up. I labeled it PL and PL1. Our price level goes up, and our real GDP goes up from YP to Y1. So our real GDP goes up. Now, in the long run, remember our autocorrect? In the long run, to fix, because what problem do we have here? We have an inflationary gap. So in the long run, what will happen is that our nominal wages will eventually increase, which is going to cause our short run aggregate supply curve to shift to the left, thus putting us back at long run equilibrium. So the effect in the long run on price level is the price level goes up. So we go from E1 to E3, because we go E1, E2 to E3. So the price level goes up. But real GDP in the long run stays the same, because we're basically skipping that E2. So going from E1 to E3, we're still having GDP on the long run aggregate supply curve. So real GDP stays the same. How does that affect the money market? Well, all I did was I drew this, transferred this graph all the way over here. Okay, and what you see is that, okay, well, we had the money supply increase, so we went from E1 to E2 is down here, but now because in the long run the price level increases, gee, I need more money, so that's increasing the demand for money, so we're pushing the demand for money to the right, and we go from E1 to E2 to E3, and look at that, the effect on interest rates in the long run is interest rates eventually equal out, and they equal out to be the same. And so interest rates stay the same. Okay, so if I was you, that was how I would explain that first row, and then I would have to go through and explain the second, third, and fourth row. You will find that it'll get a lot easier the more repetitive it becomes. Okay, so what I want you to do is that first column, okay, the first column, I want you to put in that first row, okay, the first column. For the first row, I want you to decrease the money supply using the reserve requirement. For the second row, I want you to increase the money supply using open market operations. For the third row, I want you to increase the money supply using the discount rate. And for the fourth row, I want you to decrease the money supply using open market operations. Okay? Once you are finished filling out your chart and then you record your explanation, I want you to submit your explanation on Canvas where it says long run effects of monetary policy explanation videos. Okay, I want you to explain it there. Okay, that way I know whether or not you understand what the heck you're doing. Okay, when I see you in class the next time, we will take a look at, I'll hopefully be able to have time to be able to look at what you guys submitted, and we'll talk about what you actually found as far as trends with the long run effects of monetary policy. All right, that's it. That's what I need you guys to do. Please let me know if you have any questions. I am available through email. Otherwise, good luck, Godspeed.